So hey guys, welcome to lesson 4 of Introduction to Python. Today we're going to be talking about a really cool kind of side aspect of Python called Turtle. And so all of the Python we've been working in so far has been text-based, but with Turtle we can use and be able to draw cool things through actual, lines and shapes that are 2D instead of 1D. So a great example of this that we're going to reference throughout the rest of this class is this one with the house. And we'll be able to, at the end, draw most of the aspects from this house drawing. So as you can see here, this turtle plays back and draws all of these cool different aspects. So the first thing we need to do is, since turtle isn't technically a part of Python just like lists or variables are, we need to import it from a different location. So when we import it, we need to just type in this word, this phrase. So type in import turtle. And then after that, we need to be able to create a turtle, because as you see in this example, we have an actual turtle that draws. So when we use this turtle to draw, we need to name this turtle just like we'd name a variable and create it as turtle.turtle. Notice that the parentheses here and the uppercase here are really important. Okay, so for now I'm going to move on to the next bit. So we talked about making a turtle, right? So in this case, my turtle equals turtle.turtle. And right now you can't really see the turtle because we haven't drawn anything yet. So for now, let's focus on the settings of the turtle. We can create, the first thing I'm going to talk about is pen size. So when we end up drawing and creating lines, you can change the pen size. And this is going to be, we're going to put a thickness in the amount of pixels thick it is. So if I put my turtle dot pen size and then say 10, when I end up drawing, the thickness of the pen size is going to be 10. And as you can see, by setting things for the turtle, we can see the actual turtle. And in this image here, we can see we have different shapes of the turtle. Right, the classic right now is going to look like this arrow. But what you can do is you can put your turtle name dot shape. And inside here, in a string, by the way, you can change the shape into one of these four. So the classic right now is going to be the arrow, but what I can do is I can put my turtle dot shape, and then let's say I put circle. So this won't affect your actual drawing, but what it does is it changes your little cursor thing. And one of the most fun ones to do is just the turtle shape, because it's called turtle. So try these two for now. I'm going to point something out really quickly. For the most part, when we put these different parameters inside of these parentheses, the words are going to be strings, and then the numbers are just going to be integers. So don't put strings for the numbers, just leave them as integers. Okay, so the third parameter I'm going to be talking about is speed. And the idea of speed is that, do you guys remember how in the example we had the turtle drawing and it was drawing live? And as the lines went on, it went a certain speed. Okay, I'm going to bring up the example again. So right here in this example, we have, when we run this, the background is going to show, and then the turtle is going to move live. So every line that it draws, we're going to watch it as it draws. And so the pen size is going to be how thick these black lines are. And the speed is going to be how fast it goes. So right now, we're going to set this up. So we can give a number between 1 and technically infinity, but the speeds only go from 0 to 100. So we're going to go my turtle dot speed, and then we're going to put a number. So right now you won't see it because we haven't drawn anything, but you can put a number, any number here, and from 1 to 100, 1 is going to be like the slowest speed, and then 100 is going to be the fastest. And then if you don't want to put 100, 0 is typically going to be our maximum speed. So if you want your turtle to go as fast as possible, we can do 0 speed. For now, I'm going to leave it on 10. Type in the chat when you've finished writing this line. Okay, so since we can change the background color, we can also change the actual color of the lines we give. So for now, let's just change the color of the turtle. Let's try pen color. So as you can see here, there's kind of like a mirroring correlation where we have background color here as sky blue, and we can do the same thing with pen color. So let's try, you do my turtle, or your turtle name, and then dot pen color. And here you can set the same colors that you set here. So if I want to set this as, say, black, that black is a really bad example, orange, then what it does is right now you can see this orange outline. It doesn't do much yet because we haven't started drawing again, but for now let's try writing this line and adding different colors. Okay, so while you guys are trying it out, yeah, you can draw in Python, and here is a full list of the different colors you can try for both the screen and the pen color. So any one of these colors works. So for now, try using and changing these colors. For brown, there's technically a brown. It's more of an orangey. You should try one of these two instead. Oops. Thank you guys. Okay, so I'm going to start with the actual drawing part. So as someone mentioned previously in the chat, when we move our turtle, we're just going to tell it to move a certain amount of pixels forward. And make sure that this number here is in pixels. So let's say I'm leaving my turtle pen color in red, right? So I'm going to have my turtle dot forward. And then let's say I go 100 pixels. Typically you start with 100 pixels. So it's actually going to move forward. And as you can see, the thickness of this is my pen size. So if I turn my pen size back to 1, then it will be only this thick, but if I turn it to 10, it'll be thicker. So try having your turtle go forward a certain amount of pixels. Okay, so the other part of turtle is you don't just want to be moving in one direction. So we can have this turtle, think about it as if you're steering a little turtle or a little cursor, and you're having it go forward, but we can also have it turn left or right a certain amount of degrees. So we can have my turtle dot left and then say 90 degrees, so it would be a 90-degree turn. And as you can see, we can watch as our cursors actually turn. And this is important because we can later go on and have it go forward in this direction. So right now, try turning your turtle, say 90 degrees left. We're going to be talking about like shapes like squares in a couple seconds, yeah. Okay, so since people are talking about shapes already in the chat, let's actually look at these shapes. So a quick review of geometry before we go on to actually drawing these shapes. So how many angles are in each side of a regular square? Okay, good. So there are 90. And then what about an equilateral triangle? How many angles are in between each side? Right, yeah. Okay, so what about a hexagon? Okay, so the idea of this is that for any shape, we have 180 times the amount of sides minus 2. That's the like standard formula. And the thing to note about actually, about turtle is that when you create these lines, you're not actually going to be putting in this angle. So when we have our turtle move left and right, we have it actually turn the amount of 180 minus the angle here. And so when this happens, we're going to say for a square, we're going to use 90 because 180 minus this 90 degree is 90. But for other shapes, we're going to have to use 180 minus that amount. So like for the equilateral triangle, we have 60 degrees in this here. So we have to tell our turtle to move 120 degrees here. So if you want to draw a shape, you need to use the 180 minus the angle. For now, don't spam things in the chat. Okay. If you guys need help, can you private message starcoder.org assistant? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at squares. We mentioned for loops last week, and for loops are going to be really useful in Turtle because we can have our turtle go forward a certain amount, then turn right a certain amount, and then have it repeat over and over again. So in this case, we have a square where we have 4 sides, and so 4 times we're going to go forward this amount and then turn right 90 degrees. So we're going to actually be able to create a square. So for I in range 4, and then we can have our turtle go forward and then do this. So try this right now. And then the other thing I want to mention about this is that you want to add turtle.done or turtle.done at the end. So try running this code. Okay, if you finished with this one shape, try moving on to other shapes, like triangles or changing the angles, or try tweaking the amount of sides to see what happens. By the way, if it's running an error, you might want to try adding turtle.done or such. Yeah, okay, so the important thing about this is that when you write your for loops, you have the tabs here, otherwise it's going to run an error. And you want to remember all these things from past classes because when we get onto code like this where it's longer, you're going to start running into small errors, so double check your code. Okay, so the next kind of main shape we're going to be talking about is a star. And as you can see in this example, we're just going to be using a simple star like this. And what we're going to do is import turtle, and 5 times we're going to go right 144 degrees. And right here, this number doesn't really matter as long as it stays consistent. So what you can do is you can go forward 100 and you can go 144 degrees 5 times. And what this does is it allows your turtle to turn 144 degrees 5 times to create this kind of star. Try actually writing out this code. Type in the chat when you've finished or if you have any questions, by the way. Okay, I'm going to mention this briefly again. When you write your code, you want to, if you're running an error, can you either ask starcoder.org assistant or just type your code in the chat, private message me. And just make sure you have these tabs, make sure you've finished the turtle. And if it isn't working, a great part about comments, which we mentioned, is sometimes you want to try by commenting out sections of your code. And this is going to tell you that if this doesn't run an error without this section, then this section has an error. And if this doesn't, if it still has an error, then it's not the section. So just try commenting out various parts to see where the error is. Okay, so a good question asked is, do you have to use this? Technically, you don't need to use turtle.done, but in some platforms it does require you to do it, so it's just a good habit to have. And then the other thing is you can put a repeat, but you can put a loop inside of a loop. So you can have for I in range and then do another for I in range. So if you don't, so try that. Okay, so another thing I'm going to briefly mention again is that when you create this turtle, you don't want to add like spaces in between. So this is going to work just like a variable name does. So you need to make sure that this is consistent for all of your turtles later on. So this name needs to match this one and so on. Okay, so this is code that I want you guys to try to type out. For any shape you want, you're going to apply this formula. So we're going to create our turtle and we can give a side number here. And then what we're going to do is, again, for I in range, make sure there's a tab or some kind of tab form here. And we're going to repeat this for the amount of times that of the amount of sides that we have. We're going to go forward a certain amount and then go t.left or t.right. And then right here, this is the formula for the the total amount of angles in a single shape. And then we're going to do 180 minus that divided by side. Because again, in turtle, you need to do 180 minus the angle of the actual shape. So try running this exact code. So as you can see, like I just typed out, whoa, that's wrong. Okay. Gonna... Okay, so type in the chat if you're done or you're ready to move on. Or questions, of course. Okay, so for this part, okay, I'm going to quickly move on from that because time and this code is like the actual project part. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this code instead. And what this is a very simple kind of turtle spiral idea. So for now, disregard the code earlier and try this one because we're going to try a spiral. And this is really important because when we create for loops, this is like the main point of using a for loop instead of increasing code. So we have our spiral here and we create a turtle. And for I in range, a certain amount, in this case, let's go 20, we're going to go forward, but instead of going forward a concrete amount, what we can do is we can take this incrementing value of I. So one, again, it'll start from 0, and then it'll go 0, 1, 2, so on. And then we're going to multiply this amount by 10, and we're going to go forward this amount. So in this case, the amount that we go forward is going to increase from 0 to like 1, to 10 to 20 and so on. And then we're going to go write 144. So try this piece of code. Okay, so the idea of this spiral is basically saying it's spiraling from small to greater to even bigger. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so can you retype in the chat if you're ready to move on, or should I wait a little bit longer? Okay, so someone asked, what does I times 10 mean? And then the idea of this is, if you'll remember from one of our earlier classes, this right here, this is going to be the multiplication sign. And if you remember, the I in this is going to go from 0 to 19. So what we're doing is we're multiplying the value of I on this current for loop, and then we're multiplying it by 10 to make it longer. So it's just saying I times 10. So 0 times 10, 1 times 10, etc., etc. Okay, so someone asked near the beginning of class the circles. So technically we can have it just increment a little bit and make a close circle, but Python and Turtle has an easier way where we literally just do turtle name dot circle, and then this is right here is going to be the radius of the circle. So try this. If you just have my turtle and then have it go dot circle, and then you put the radius in pixels. So let's say I want to have a bigger circle, and I put 100, and it's going to draw a circle. So try that out. Type in the chat when you're ready to move on. Yeah, so with this, you can also create multiple different small circles, as someone mentioned. And you could do my circle dot one dot, sorry, my turtle dot circle again, and you can create all different sizes of circles. Okay, so another thing is, again, someone previously asked, how do I make like an invisible line? So for this, just imagine that when your turtle is drawing things, it's like walking on the ground. So in order to get it to move places or go forward a certain amount without it actually drawing out a shape, what you can do is you can have the turtle go up, and just imagine it's like picking up the turtle off the ground, having it move forward, having it move different directions, and then putting it back down so it can draw again. So an important thing to remember is that when we pick the turtle up, if you don't put it back down, any line you draw after is just not going to show up. So if I create the circle, and then I have my turtle dot up. What this is going to do is my turtle, any line I go forward, it's not going to actually print. So let's say I go my turtle dot forward, and then say 20. So what happens here is when I run this code, it's going to go, I'm going to go forward a little bit more. It's going to move forward, but you just won't see the line. So rather than changing the pen size, the easiest way is to just have it go up and then, have the turtle go up, go forward, and then put it back down. So when I go my turtle dot down, and then I say my turtle dot forward again, this time when I draw it, it's going to show up. So again, I draw the circle, I go up, and then it's going to be invisible. I put it back down, and then it goes forward again. So try having your turtle go up, go down, and then draw some things in between. As you can see, I didn't even need to change anything. All you have to do is have it go up, and then any line that it draws here is going to be basically invisible. So as you can see, this circle isn't needed. All you have to do is go up, go down, and then move it forward. Type in the chat when you're ready to move on. Okay. So the next main concept we're going to look at is, right now, what we've been doing is creating shapes that don't have anything filled in. So Python and Turtle allow you to fill in your shapes. So what you're going to do is, before you actually draw your shape, you're going to go name, your turtle name, dot fill color, and then again, pick a color. And then you're going to start fill, as you can see, start fill or begin fill. It's going to be actually begin fill. And then you're going to go for eye and range, and then you draw your shape. Then at the very end, you're going to go end fill. So what this looks like is, the simplest way to put it out is, I put my turtle dot fill color, say yellow. I'm going to point out something, is that if you don't actually draw the shape, this isn't going to do much but fill the actual turtle. So this isn't going to affect our drawing. Then you're going to go my turtle, and then let's say circle 100. Here we're going to go my turtle dot begin fill. Sorry, it's not start fill. And then there's nothing that goes in here. draw the circle, and then my turtle dot end fill. So here, if I were to run this code, we have drawing the circle, and then we fill it in this color, and then it's going to end the fill. So try drawing a shape or applying filling in your shapes here. And then if you have any questions, again, type it out and put it in the chat when you're done. So it's important to note that when you write begin fill and end fill, you don't actually have anything inside of the parentheses because you've already set the color here with fill color. Okay, so the important cool thing to note here is if you want to get rid of this black outline, you can also change your pen color, and then what this does is when you draw the shape, it's going to be a different color, and then when you fill the shape, it's going to be the same color, so it just looks like there's no outline. Okay, I'm going to move on to some basic examples and problems. So again, this is the example of the spiral. Keep typing if you're not finished yet. And then, so you guys can keep going, but, oops. So a couple things since we're nearing the end of class. I want you guys to try and actually experiment around with the code and try and draw your own things. And if that works, then paste your code onto this Google Doc here. The link is in the chat. And then the other main thing is, since this is the last class of this kind of 4-set class, can you guys fill out this kind of Google form? It's just to give the just to give your like experience or feedback for future classes. And we'll put that inside of the chat too. Okay, so so we pasted the form and then the chat, and then right now I'm just going to be addressing any questions or things that people have. So I'm going to leave this spiral code up here in case you guys want to continue trying it out. So play around with it. Yeah, so like share your code here. I'm going to share this piece of code. And what it does here is, if we run this, yeah, so this is well, I'm gonna get rid of this, but this is a pretty good example of code that used the things we learned. So we can draw circles and we can use pen up and pen down to create these various circles that are in different locations. I'm going to actually go back to the colors. Okay, so actually, make sure you guys fill out the Google form, but if you guys need other codes to try out, you can go to StarCoder tutorials, and then I believe we have the, oops, wrong one, lesson 4. You can see the various codes using, and we have the house code near the bottom, so you can copy and paste those codes and try it out. Well, just kidding. So for the house that we talked about in the beginning, I'm going to run it really quickly. So we have this, and what happens is you can copy and paste the code from there. Okay, so this is another piece of code that we can run. Wow, okay. Right here with this code, you need to make sure that you have my turtle so that you set it to my turtle. Pretty cool. Okay, should be this one, right? I'm just gonna run these various codes. This one's really cool. And obviously there's writing, of course. Okay, as shown in this code, actually this code puts it really well. You can create different turtles to draw different things. Today we're not going to be doing a Kahoot, but thanks for sharing your code, and I believe that's the end of class. This is a really cool piece, by the way. So make sure you fill out the survey before you go. The link should be in the chat somewhere. And if you have any questions about the code or classes, I will still be here.